Okay, so question 23, which expression is equivalent to 42a over k plus 42ak? In this case, first we just have to get the common denominator because all of these are just one expression, so that would just be 42a over k plus, and then we multiply this right side by k over k, which is the same thing as 1. So that would be 42a k times uh, k over k. So um, this simplified is just 44a plus, sorry, it's supposed to be 42. 42a plus 42a, k times k is just k squared, so k squared, and you combine the denominators, so that's over k. So we need to now simplify this by taking out a common factor. Common factor is 42a. So that would just be 42a times, so 42a times what is equal to 42a? Well, that would just be 1. And then 42a times k squared is equal to this, right, expression. So that would just be k squared all over k. So 42a and then 1 plus k squared over k, which is answer is D. Okay, question 24. Okay, so question 24. Which quadratic equation has no real solutions? Well, this can be found out using the formula b squared minus 4ac. So as you know, for a quadratic function, it's just a x squared plus bx plus c. So in this case, we just have to plug that into the top equation for all of these. So this one, so for all of these, b squared would be 14 times 14, or negative 14 times negative 14, which would just be the same thing. And then minus 4ac. So for there to be no real solutions, this has to be less than 0. So for us to have a positive value for this, we need to have this be as negative as possible. So we can just look at these, and we don't have to calculate all of these. We can just look at these answers and we see which one would get us the most negative value. So in that case, we would want uh, a to be a large positive value because we already have the negative from the negative 4. So we just want a to be a large positive value. So in this case, both of these have a large positive value, and then we would want c to be a large positive value as well, which would be this one and this one. So the correct answer would be D, and I can just calculate it if you want. So this would just be 14 or negative 14 for this one, negative 14 squared minus 4 times 5 times 49. This should be equal to negative 784 for the entire equation, which is less than 0. So the correct answer is D. That's just a quicker way to do it. Okay, question 25. Okay, so for question 25, we know that we have an equation that models the population, Sun City T years after 2003. So this references years. According to the model, population is projected to increase by 4% every 8 months. So this is where the 4% is coming from. What is the value of n? So we're currently given it in years and we need to convert into months. And so we know that if it's supposed to increase by 4% every n months, we know that this is where the 4% is coming from. So this exponential has to be equal to 1. So the 6 over 4t has to be equal to 1. So in that case, we need to convert into months. So we have 6 over 4 is, and then the t would be 1 year, but instead we need to get into 12. So we can do 6 over 4 equals 12, and we'd have a variable here, which call it x. And then according to the model, the population is increased by 4% every n months. So if we know that 6 over 4 of the amount of years is equal to 12, then we need to, well, first let's just simplify, this is just 3 over 2. And then we know that we need to get this 6 over 4 or 3 over 2 into 2 over 2 because 2 over 2 is equal to 1, right? And we need to scale this down into 1. So we need to just scale this 12 into this 2 over 2. So this is 6 over 4, or this is 3 over 2. And 3 over 2 is 12, and we need to make this into 2 over 2. So 2 over 2 is equal to what? Well, if 3 over 2 is 12, then we know that 2 over 2 would be equal to 8. So the correct answer would be 8 months. We scale it down. Okay, question 26. Okay, so for question 26, we're told there's a circle. The xy plane has a center at negative 1, 1. So in a graph, that would just be like x, y at negative 1, 1. And there's a tangent point to the circle at the point 5, negative 4. So we go like 5, negative 4, like here approximately. And um, we're told that it's a tangent line to the circle. So that'd be like this. This would be the radius, and the circle would be like this, etc. So, whereas which of the following points also lies on line T? Well, in this case, we have the 2 points. So we would just do negative 4 minus 1 over 5 minus negative 1. So that's just plus 1, which is going to be the slope is going to be negative 5 over 6 for the radius. And for a tangent plane, it's exactly 90 degrees. So that means we just have to flip this and flip the sign. So that would then become positive 6 over 5. So we flip the numerator denominator and we flip the sign from negative to positive. So that gets us positive 6 over 5 for the slope of the tangent line. And so which of the following points also lies on the tangent line? Well, we could calculate all that, or otherwise we could just use the answers. So 0, 6 over 5, that would be like here, that's not on the tangent plane. 4, 7. So 4, 7. Well, this is at 5, negative 4, and we have a positive slope, so that's not possible. 10, 2 might be possible, so let's check it. So from 5 to 10, that's positive 5. So multiply this by 5. That gets us, well, 5 and 5 cancel out, so we just get a 6. And we start at negative 4 and we end up at positive 2, which is a difference of 6. So the correct answer is C. And then for 11, it would be a difference of 6. So 6 times 6 is 30, divided by 5. Or no, 6 times 6 is 36, divided by 5. And then would that be equal to positive 5? So the answer is no. So correct answer is C. Okay, question 27. Okay, so question 27. We're told a lot. So we're told there is an electrical field passing through a flat surface perpendicular to it. So um, electrical flux is product of field strength times area. So we need to find area and electrical field strength. So in flat surface contains two adjacent squares. So we have two adjacent squares where side length of larger square is three times the side length of the smaller square. Okay, so that's the first big piece of information. So we have square one. With a side length, we'll just call it x. And we have a bigger square with a side length of 3x because it's three times the side length. So the area of this would just be x squared. The area of this is 3 times 3 is 9x squared. So, so we're definitely gonna have to find area here. Okay. So now we have to find electrical field with strength 29 volts, perpendicular electrical field, and we're told the total flux. Okay, so first, we need to relate the area to that. So the area of the full figure is 9x squared plus x squared, which is just 10x squared. And we need to multiply this by, because it says it's product, so we just need to multiply this by 29. And this should equal 4640. So we need to solve for x squared. So this is 290. Okay, and divide 4640 by 290, which would give us 16. So we know that x squared is equal to 16. So, I mean, we could simplify to find the sine lengths, but we don't really need it because, um, uh, no, space. So, we know that x squared is 16, and we know that the area of the big box, cube, whatever it's called, what is it called? I don't know. Electrical field, flat surface, is 9x squared, and we're asked to find the electrical field through the larger square. So we'll just do the same thing, except instead of 10x squared, it's 9x squared. So we just do 29 uh times, so instead of the full figure, which is 10x squared, we just have the big box, which is just 9x squared. So 9, and we know that x squared is equal to 16, so we plug in 16 here. So we have 9 times 16 times 29. So 9 times 16 is like 144. And yeah, so we have 29 times 144, and 144 times 29 should be equal to 4,176. So the correct answer is 4,176, which would make sense considering that total was 4,640. That's just 10, and we just need 9. So this is makes sense. Okay. So next SAT. So question 1. So question one, we have well, use P's solutions to give an equation. P equals 3 plus 8 equals 10. So that's the same thing as saying P plus 11 equals 10. Subtract 11 from both sides, and get P equals -1. Answer is A. Okay, question two. So question two, which the scatter plot shows the relationship between x and y, which your fine graph shows the most appropriate model. In this case, it seems like this graph, if we just try to follow the points as much as possible, it seems to have a sort of exponential curve. So in this case, well, I mean, I guess the easiest way to think about it is sum of squares. That just means distance between the line to the points. And you take all of those, you add them up, and then um, you take square root of the sum, and the line should be, it should equal 0. The sum of squares should equal 0. That means the line should have the same distance to points above and below it. So in this case, most of the points are below it, and the general distance seems to be below, so this is not accurate. In this case, it's not even fitting the line through the points. In this case, all of the distances are below the line again. So the sum of squares would be very high. And in this case, we have some points that are above, some points that are below. So this fits the graph the best. Correct answer is D. Question three. Okay, so for question 3, we have k squared minus 53 equals 91. So this is the solution. So add 53 to both sides. This is equal to 144 equals k squared. Take the square root of both sides. This is just equal to k, and the square root of right side is equal to plus or minus 12. Rest for the positive solutions are just plus, so that would just be interest D, positive 12. Question 4. Here's question 4. We're told that during a flight, the airplane's cruising speed, so S, varies between 150 to 170. So 150 is less than or equals to the speed, which is less than or equals to 170, which equality best represents the situation where S is the cruising speed in miles per hour, so S is less than 20, no. As long as you know, no. The answer is D. 50 is less than S, which is the same.
We'll end the session now.